the problem with being a seer and in the spiritual sense and seeing that there's no way to know whether you need glasses or not, because it's just that's your reality. So there's no like,
Yeah. Now there's no indication if you're off or not off, but you're pretty much just off.
you're pretty much just off.
Just
Yeah.
off.
Um, yeah, I don't even know how to describe how I've been doing. It's a little different. It seems different.
Mhm.
A patient provided a Burning Man ticket to me.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I was able to get my hands on a second one and a vehicle pass. And
wow.
yeah, and Gina had actually said, "Oh, how awesome would that be for us to do Burning Man?" And I had put a request in for tickets a while back.
Yeah.
This was separate. We never really got any notification that they were provided, and I didn't do that. I did a hike to the Sierras that we were gonna do that we ended up not doing.
Yeah. Nikki showed me the pictures you sent her. Gorgeous.
Yeah, they were beautiful. And it was just like at the time when she asked me, I was so excited to do all these things. And it's like always something I wanted to do with her, but it's just the boundaries are so clear, of like I was clear on, kind of I was the romantic attraction, going to Burning Man, and her not feeling that. It just seemed like a recipe for, I don't know what the word would be for it, but it just doesn't feel right.
Okay.
I feel, and so it's like there's a part of me that just knows that intuitively. And the theme of it is waking dreams. It's like, which is an ironic, just cool name. But so I didn't mention to her about these other two tickets I got, and I'll probably tell her, that I'm going, but I instead invited my really good friend Ryan that I've been friends with since I was 5, and we're gonna go.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I'm sad, that it's like I
Hmm.
wanted it to be this certain way with her,
Right.
this certain experience with her, but she doesn't see that experience as something that she wants,
Okay.
So I'm just, it's like that classic thing of just, you do what I want and I'll be happy. You just act the way I want you to act, and feel the way I want you to feel, and we can be so happy together. We can have so much fun. And just watching that, and just saddened by the fact that that's really not the reality. And so I'm going this other direction. It's going with a longtime friend. And so then I kind of like getting into those story making things. Then it goes down to old patterns. Oh, did I do that right? Like, oh, like it's these stories, these themes are just, I can feel them. I can feel the energetic push behind the narrative of them.
Great.
And it's almost like I'm still keeping it caged, like I'm keeping it in this with my denial system,
Right.
and it's there, and I'm like, am I just becoming just am I becoming better at caging it because it's lost its power, it's lost some of its juice, and I have my personal power to be able to cage it. Like that's a question I want to like. Does it
Okay,
almost
so
like?
let's stop right there,
Sorry, yeah, I was bringing up some good stuff there though.
because
Huh?
because that's a good question, the way you phrase that. So you wondered, am I just getting, I can feel it like caged back there, kind of as a, I don't know, a weight or whatever, a feeling back there. And you're
Yeah.
wondering if, am I just getting better at caging it in my denial system, or is it, it's like, no, that is not what's happening.
Okay.
Okay. You're getting more aware all the time, and it has less of a grip on you than it used to. It doesn't mean that it's like, okay, now I've learned to manage it. It's because you're not managing anything now you're in acceptance of what is, right? You're in acceptance of the situation. You're in acceptance of the emotions that are feeling that way. Your acceptance of watching the narrative that you have. So if you're doing that, you're not promoting the denial system. The denial system was at its strongest, Alex, that it'll ever be before you turn the corner with awareness. And you've turned that corner, right? Because you know who the criminal is, right?
Yes.
Right. You've solved the crime of who the criminal is, right?
Yes.
So it's so, and you have tools to work with. You have a framework and an understanding of what's happening and how to work with it that you never had before. So completely different scenario, and it'll never be the same. Okay. So that's the answer to that question. Okay. And now it's just a matter of, you're going to recognize it trying to push a narrative and trying to emotionally affect you and get you to react at subtler and subtler levels. Okay. So that's what you're noticing, because you're not in a panic about it, right? You're not in an anxious fit. You're not, broken down. That would have been the conversation we would have had 2 years ago,
Yes.
right? Not
Scrambling.
happening.
Scrambling.
Scrambling emotionally.
Try to figure out
How to fix it.
to solve this
Solve the situation
so that I can get some relief.
So you can get what you want. So you think that'll
Yeah.
give you the relief.
Yes,
Right?
so that I can yeah.
Which I know that meant it. I'm just gonna like put it in the exact words.
Yes.
So that's a huge difference. Okay. And it's fine to have the longing and the wish for without being so tight, and some of the feeling that goes with it, just like, I wish, but and that's okay. It's a great progression. That's a healthy progression.
Yes.
That's a healthy way to deal with, the loss of something you wanted.
Yes.
Okay. And without spiraling down. And then further down the road in a different situation, at a different level of awareness and being clean, you just go, oh, well, it's too bad. And I'm going to have the most awesome freeing time I can at this crazy freedom event.
Yes. Yeah.
With my buddy. It's like, and it's like, all right, that's what's present. That's my reality. That's what I'm going to do. So no, I think it's great. And I love the way I noticed right away the way you were talking about it, that you were like, wow, this is a completely different way Alex would normally be processing this.
Yeah. 100%. It's how would I put it? there's almost like a longing for that scrambling,
Yeah.
that not, I mean, I was thinking about that, just really at times it was like hell, it was just some really terribly anxious moments. And so it's like I don't miss that, but it's like something is better than nothing kind of thing, from a certain point of view, it's like, because then it's like there's none of that. Okay, now what am I left with?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like an emptiness, like
Right,
oh,
right.
like
Okay.
like there's nothing I can. This is how it is, and there's, any direction I go there is just only going to it's all trying to, back to what you were saying, to try to get the relief, but what it does is it ends up making it worse. So it's like, okay, now what do I do? And the work really, has been, and it's so clear now, through doing the work of when that anxiety had come up, and those hellish moments of anxiety, to the best of my ability at that time, drop down into just actually what it was I was feeling, and trying my best to feel it. It
Right.
didn't feel, a lot of times it didn't even, the mind would come in and be like, I don't think you're doing it right. You're just feeling anxious. You're not doing, but it's just the mindset of like, okay, um, I'm at least gonna just, it's such a, like, it's just shift it a little more towards just being with whatever is. And I can see now how that's really built up a muscle, and that's why I'm not scrambling.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that accurate of like what the process has been?
Yes.
Some of the newness of all this work, you can sense in me, I like to have the lights go off, and see things and work with things, we've talked about that. And some of the newness of it has kind of worn away. It's almost like my new normal,
Yeah.
a little bit. And so, which is a good thing, but it's like the newness is worn off a little. And then now it's like, it's just really about the work, there's nothing like exciting about, oh, I'm getting to like this new thing I'm getting to work with. It's just like, okay, you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. Yeah. It's about this time we'd start jonesing for a power journey with Miguel.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get some juice going. Let's have an experience. Let's have some, you know, um, everything that was rolled up in those power journeys. You've been on them,
Hmm.
you know.
Oh, I was gonna tell you. Oh, so I was looking at that tweet this sent you from that guy, and I wanted to just, can I read it to you?
Sure.
Because it's kind of interesting to kind of apply what we've talked about to it. So it was by Joshua Bach, and he's like this artificial intelligence, really into basically um, creating, understanding consciousness and applying that towards like a computer program, And so he had said, you have no obligation to the past and are free to choose who you are at any moment anew. which means you have no reason to expect your future self to remain loyal to your identity if it comes up with a better one. Minds don't want you to know this. If more selves were aware that they can pick who they are at any moment, conventional mental order would break down and the oppressed selves would be free. I only understand these things rationally and feel I cannot break the compact with myself.
Mhm.
So, he uses words like you are free to choose, and you have no reason to expect your future self to remain loyal to your identity. And then, at the very end, he uses the word and feel I cannot break the compact with myself. So that whole identity that keeps on, running along the same, it's because the emotional body has not changed at all. Rationally, yes, he knows it rationally, but that's the level of thought, like that's like a little comes from a little part of awareness of seeing that.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And he can conceptualize it.
Conceptualize it.
Wherever that idea and thing came of it, he kind of took a look at that and he realized rationally
Yeah.
that's true.
And it is true, huh?
And it's 100% true.
Yeah.
But it's just like you said, the emotional body is attached to all things that you've identified yourself with since the time you were born and became domesticated all the way through. It's so attached to that.
Yeah.
It's not just attached to it. It depends on it. So it's not going to easily let it go at all and just be yesterday. That's yesterday. That's yesterday. That's the last second. That's the last second. It's the last second of who I was. That's, that's actually a whole practice to practice being different than how you normally are consciously. But don't try and be a entirely different personality. See if you could change something, Alex, like in you that's a trait or something that you do, whether it's a routine, an activity, social group, what you wear,
Mm.
the way you do your hair,
Mm-hmm.
the way you shave, even the way you get up in the morning and change your routine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was actually a really good one. Change your morning routine. What do you do? Do you pee, coffee, shower, dress?
Well, usually, yeah.
Change that order, except maybe the first one you have to because you got to necessarily bodily function. But you change that, or change something 2% in the way you are. That's a practice of detaching and doing what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. And you're not the change in the emotional body isn't creating that. It's almost like you're doing like this superficial conscious, like, okay, this is different, I'm going to do this. But then because you're doing something different, you get a different interaction.
A different interaction and a different emotional response in yourself.
Yes.
In yourself.
Yes.
Because people, we were given this exercise years and years ago, and I know other groups, teachers did, and the people come back and say, I had no idea how difficult it was going to be for me to let that go and do that. Like some people would color their hair and go for a completely different color, and they'd go, God, it was like traumatic to go through and do that. Who am I going to be? How am I going to look? Just watch everything that happens in your mind. It's like, who am I going to be? How am I going to look? Da, 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 da. I mean, go to work in a slacks a button-down shirt, a tie, and a coat, you know? It's like you're gonna walk in, I mean, you just feel the mind work, okay? And it's a way to do the rational mind challenging the set world of Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a practice of small things like that, but it's an awareness practice where you're gonna go, I'm gonna consciously do this one little shift, you know, you don't have to do anything big, just one little shift and watch what happens and watch what happens. And then it's like, okay, this is a really good practice to do because now I'm becoming familiar with the feeling of resisting, actively resist, right? Whatever it is, because your entire world view of yourself out there and how other people view you is like a comfort zone of your mind, the way it is and the way it acts, the way it interacts. And now you start throwing a little bit off of that. You don't know how people are going to respond to you necessarily if you look different, stuff like that. Now you've got a whole bunch of stuff to worry about because you know how they're going to respond to you now, pretty much.
Yep.
You figured it out and you're comfortable with that and you're good. You don't have to give it any effort. Now you're going to change that. And it's like, I got to figure out how to dance here. In case this happens, in case that happens, right?
You're stepping off of the, what in Teo, what was that area, the island of safety?
That's great. Perfect. You're exactly right.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about that what were you gonna say?
I'll show you a little fun example of that real quick.
Okay.
So, you know, one of the things that we did that happened as an outcome of us moving to this different region of the United States here in the South is I moved out of California culture. Now, I had been here and I'd kind of look at it briefly and I thought, hey, I like it. I like the way people are. So it was like, it was okay. It wasn't like, oh, I hate this. What am I doing here? So I decided to like do it. But now I'm in this culture of, I'm in the country in an agricultural area, small towns, completely different culture. And it's like, you know, fitting in here is fun, but you know, I fit in physically really well, you know. This area is Northwest Arkansas. It's pretty much all white people who look like me, you know, more or less up and down the spectrum. But you know, it's like, so today, you know, was at the store and I got this ball cap.
I like it.
Because
John Deere,
because I go into town and I'm wearing a ball cap, either with no logo or maybe it's got Adidas or something on it. And sometimes I look around and I go, damn, I don't quite fit in with this ball cap. It doesn't stand out, but it doesn't quite fit in certain things, you know. And I thought, just nail it. And I saw this cap. I had to go to the John Deere dealer to get a part for my lawnmower. And I saw this hat and I go, that's a really nice hat. That'd be perfect for me going out about town. So I bought this, but it's kind of my way of playing, like, you know, how do you meld in with a different environment? Now I'm totally comfortable. I'm totally comfortable with it, but it's just part of playing now.
Yeah.
By the way, Nikki looks really good in that hat.
Oh, I bet she does.
I said, shoot, he says, I'm gonna need to give it to you. But anyways, so yeah, there's, you know, you talk about what else should I be doing? You're in the perfect spot to be thinking about doing that as a practice until you get totally comfortable with that little bit of change you made, then you can drop it.
And you know, because that you were saying doing that brings up the resistance. Is it that little piece of real estate of awareness I have putting up the resistance, like as the warrior, or is it also bringing up the resistance that my body can feel from the emotional body not liking it, you know, the mind, the parasitic mind, really throwing a fit about it. Is it both?
That's what well, it's mostly the second one The parasitic mind doesn't like it.
That was the resistance you're saying you're playing with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just feeling, because that resistance is gonna, the only way it can really interact with the body is through emotion. So it's just going to use whatever emotions that it keeps you by the balls with. It's going to throw that stuff. So it's almost, in a way, it's just going to, you're going to be able to feel what's inside you.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that now we're talking about the subtleties of the mechanism of why we make decisions based on these emotional impulses that we're feeling and stuff like that. And then, that starts the narrative.
Yeah.
Normally we're just paying attention to the narrative that starts with it. But now we're starting to pay attention to the micro impulses, the emotional impulses at different levels that are really like going, all I'm trying to do is satisfy that thing,
Yeah. Is it also, I've read a lot about, our perception is a lot of it is based on like low energy, like how can I solve this thing, in the lowest energy expenditure? Like if I,
Right.
it's a matter of like conserving energy, but it's conserving energy for the parasite.
Yeah,
Oh, I
think
mean, so that it, do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
Okay,
saying,
okay,
because
so-
I've read some of that stuff too, is we have to process so much information about our environment in our brain that we take these shortcuts.
Yeah.
Our mind does shortcuts. I mean, it takes a percentage of it takes a small percentage of the total information that's available there, and our mind literally fills in the details to make it faster, so that we can what to do quicker. Part of it's a safety mechanism in your environment. So all that stuff. So we do that, and I think that plays into your question is remember, you've been controlled ever since you were a small being learning to be Alex. You've been controlled by these emotional feelings that you have, right? And then over a short period of time through your young childhood, you learned responses and thoughts to manage these strong emotions about what you should do, so that you had pleasant emotions and got away from the unpleasant emotion situations, right? And so you were conditioned to take action based on how you were feeling emotionally. And think about things. We're just talking pure domestication here, right? As Miguel talks about it. So you're like, our awareness in our mind is paying attention all the time to subtle emotional pushes and feelings and stuff like that, and not questioning where they came from ever, or why it's there. It's just that it's there. I got to do something. It's telling me do something. It's pleasant, I'm going to move towards it. It's unpleasant, I'm going to move away from it. And whatever the whole scenario is around it, and the whole narrative. So, by the time we're past being just a very young child, we're often running with that forever in our entire lives. And as we get older and more mature, say, maybe we finally get out of, past our early 20s, maybe then we start to question, well, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? We try to understand ourselves, right? Search starts to happen about, I'm not happy, but I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. We start to have enough experience to know that the early things we tried to go for weren't working for us. So now the search starts, and the detective starts kicking in. So, but it's always trying to get to that thing. And even that is an impulse that's trying to solve, right? Well, I don't understand. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm not feeling great. So it's got an impulse to go down the searching path. So we're just directed and driven by,
There's no longer that unspoken always their assumption that something's not okay.
Exactly. Yeah. You remove that from your daily experience of part of your being that you thought was true, and it's just not there. And it's like, I'm not going to suffer that way anymore.
Yeah. And then, I mean, do I have moments where it's not there? Or is it just always or is that a bad question to ask? Maybe I shouldn't go there.
Well, I mean, you have you. All right, let's go down to the basic root. You run the gamut of emotions from high to low in daily life, from day to day to day. You have blissful moments, something happening, and you feed yourself bliss. You might have something really good happens. You feel gratitude, something like that. So you're riding the wave up, and then in the same day you have moments where you're major bummed or pissed off or angry or something like that. So you're doing it, but you might still, through all of those, still have this nagging feeling that something's not okay. When's the other shoe going to drop? Something's still not right. But in the moment, you're so distracted by your bliss or your gratitude or something, or your anger, it's like you're not focused on that. Okay?
Yeah.
But you come back once you hit more, you're not riding a wave up or down. It comes, and you pay attention. It's like, yeah, that's still there.
Yeah.
So you can feel multiple emotions, just whatever at the same time. It's just whatever one you happen to be the largest and you're most focused on is what you kind of like tend to remember. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so, but remember, there's the emotions that you're going through that are generated strong in the moment, but what your mind made up of is a pool of emotions that are always there because your mind is still there. Okay, so yeah, it's still there and your body's still feeling your mind and you're still sensing what your body's feeling with your mind. So you're still there because it's like, it's in the pool of emotions that's your mind. Okay, well then, will it ever go away? Sure. As soon as you change the clarity and purity of the emotions that are in your mind, then it's gone. Then that one nagging thing that's always been there of the, what's he call it? The what of emotional? The vortex of emotions.
Oh, vortex of suffering.
The vortex of suffering. Once you clear out the vortex, which I use the analogy, it's like you've got a bowl of water and that's your mind. Once you clean that water out, the vortex is gone. You're still there, but the vortex is gone and the suffering's gone. Okay. So then it's pretty simple, practical. It works exactly that way. So if it ends up resurfacing again once a high or low of another thing is gone, okay, it's still in my pool of water.
Yep.
All right. Good to know. And when it's gone, you'll know it.
When
the vortex
underlying
is really gone,
Yeah.
you'll know it.
Yeah. The ocean, the pool of water that I'm in. I mean, is that ocean, is that made up of emotion? The emotions?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
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 It's emotional.
So it's like changing your emotional environment in a way, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting, it's just exciting to know that there is a reality, a state of consciousness where everything is completely okay.
And completely different. And everything's completely okay. And nothing on the outside has changed.
Yeah. Like, that's just wild to me that rationally just, I know that exists among many other different, it's just like, I know that this is just this, it's just a state I'm in. It's a dream that I'm in, that
Exactly.
that I think I'm stuck in. But it has a certain feeling quality to it. And that's what gives it its sense of being real, huh?
Yep.
It's just wild to me to know that there's something on the other side.
Yeah, and it's just the other side of the bubble, just like it's that far away. It's all you have to do is go like that and go through the bubble, and that's all that exists. Is because the vortex of suffering,
Uh-huh.
it's only on the inside here. It's nowhere else.
Yeah.
So it's you go just on the outside, boom, bliss.
The reflection that the reflection changes.
Yeah. Yeah, so go there.
If I asked you how to do
because,
that,
and what's that?
I said, I was like, have I ever asked you how to do that?
I don't think you have, which is really the ultimate question. Because it's like, damn, I know it's there. I've been in it before. Why can't I just get back there now?
Yeah. Well, I think I don't ask those type of questions because you
Well,
have told me how to do it, and it has to do with, like you've always said, acceptance and awareness.
I was going to say, my quick answer to that is do the work.
Yeah,
Keep doing the work.
yeah. There's no shortcut.
No, but you can pop out and visit there even if you're not quite finished, cleaning up your mind and completely getting rid of the vortex of suffering. But you can pop out there and experience different things and different way of being in the dream and go, oh shoot, this is really different. And you're back and it's like, okay, now look, I got to keep slogging forward,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then you get there.
Mm-hmm. And then it becomes like a permanent state.
Yeah, and well, your state it becomes you're permanent, but as you keep slogging forward, your state keeps changing, but it's subtle, so you don't notice big changes. But I mean, you're way different than you were 2 years ago. You're different than you were a year ago. 9 months ago, you're different than you were 9 months ago. Okay.
Now,
That's amazingly rapid.
Yes, 100%. Well, I was a straight A student, Leo.
Right. You're the brightest one.
My question is,
of course,
I'm
the best teacher you could have got.
What's that?
I said, of course, I'm the best teacher you could have got.
Oh, man. Perfect. So, but I have a funny question for you, and it's probably a really bad question. You're so much different than you were 2 years ago. Is that because you're different though? Or is it like,
yeah, I'm different too, but what do I know? From this frame of reference, I'm just judging it. No, I mean, I just see your total reactions to your life in the world and situations, and you're different.
Yeah.
I mean, you were out here in November, right?
Yeah.
That's
October.
only August.
Uh-huh.
October, November? Yeah, October.
Yeah.
Not that long ago, 10 months ago. You've come a long way.
Yeah.
And
no,
that's
100% true.
That's fast. That's why when people ask about the work all the time, it says, well, if I start practicing this four agreement stuff, this Toltec stuff, how long before I really notice anything? And I'll tell them, I said, every 6 months, you really notice a change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I go, but then 6 months later, you'll notice more of a change. Mm-hmm. And it only gets better. So, I mean, that's my experience of it. And I'm watching other people, it's my experience of it. And I think it's pretty much the way it works. Even if you're a slow student like me.